does the joke begin? Three men in a bar? But it's not a bar. Imagine the Bronx, a corner bodega, or maybe a luncheonette, a diner. Three men, strictly by coincidence, find themselves in the same place at the same time. Sitting at the counter is Africa Bambaataa. Across the room is Melly Mel. Door opens and who walks in? DJ Kool Herc. Three men who created the musical style that's become the soundtrack to, well, the whole wide world. Do they nod at each other, lament how all of them got screwed over, cut out of the big money, or just laugh at the absurdity of it all? Hip-hop. It came from nowhere else. It could have come from nowhere else but the Bronx.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder.
This is the Bronx. You've probably heard about it. You may even have a pretty solid image in your head of what it looks like, what it is like. Or maybe you can't picture it at all. The South Bronx sounds familiar as a bad thing, and the Bronx at one time was said to be burning, wasn't it? For the most part, the Bronx is overlooked, the never-visited borough in New York City, which is a shame because the Bronx is a magical place with its own energy, its own food, vibe, and rhythm. You've been to Brooklyn. Maybe it's time you took a look at the Bronx.
In August of 1973, the sister of DJ Kool Herc was holding a birthday party for herself in the basement of 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. As Kool Herc was playing the music on his two-disc turntable, he began to slow the music down, slow the record. People stood up and took notice, and they began asking him to do it again. He did it again. They asked him to do it again and again. He did it again. He attracted more and more people to his performances, and people began to imitate him. And that was the beginning of hip-hop music. It started in the Bronx.
Moody's Records. Inside, rummaging for records just like he used to do, is the man, the legend, one of the very select few who started it all, who created the sound that hundreds of millions of people now claim as their own. Google who created hip-hop. Go ahead. You get DJ Kool Herc. It's a national landmark now, isn't it? Sedgwick?
No, it's not. We're working on it.
Working on it.
We're working, but it's
Matter
still,
of time.
it's still the birthplace of hip-hop, undisputed, because I didn't start it with four guys in a club. I was inside a residential building. At the time, it wasn't really receiving the building. We had a watchful eye over the recreation room.
Mm-hmm.
So she was watching for any disturbance. It never happened. And that's how it survived, because good music sells itself. Good drugs sell itself.
Yeah.
Good anything sells itself. And this was something good.
Was there a moment when you realized, whoa, this is big. This is going to spread way beyond my
I
neighborhood?
never look at that. I saw the spreading, but when I see Barney Rebel and Fred Flintstone, rest up like Jam Master Jay, you know, the DMC fellas. When I see that, to sell commercial in Madison Avenue, I know it was going. It was going. It don't take a big lift. So let's say I don't have money and all that. Nah, I'm rich in other ways. When Time magazine said what music was created inside the United States, you got Louis Armstrong for jazz, you got Elvis Presley for rock and roll, which I could be between him and Chuck Berry, and you got Kool Herc for hip hop.
Feel good?
Very good.
Historically, from the last third of the 19th century into about 1920, the second language spoken in the Bronx was German. From about 1930 to about 1960, The second language spoken in the Bronx was Yiddish. From about 1965 onward, the second language spoken in the Bronx is Spanish, and that's the way it is today.
It's got a reputation as a tough place. Crime, street gangs, a lot of which goes back to the way it was, and some of which, well, like I said, it's got a reputation as being tough. The Bronx is, let's face it, a big blank space in a lot of people's minds. Even people like me who live, what, 10 minutes away? We don't know anything about that big area between Yankee Stadium and the Bronx Zoo. What you should know is that the Bronx is big, really big, and that it's a patchwork of ethnic enclaves, a cross-section of the whole world. Every immigrant group you could think of. Justin Fornal, a.k.a. Baron Ambrosia, has taken it upon himself to serve as the Bronx's culinary ambassador.
Let the dinner begin! This is the porcupine.
An evangelist for the cause of introducing the manifold, splendiferous delights of this mighty borough to the ignorant, well, like me.
No.
He's got a show on the TV, and he throws parties where he serves creatures that would make Andrew Zimmern turn gray and slump unconscious to the floor. Showman, iconoclast, explorer, and gourmet.
Bronx is so multifaceted, but for some reason, this is the first place I always take people, because this just oozes and emanates kind of that flavor of the Bronx.
And he knows what I like. Places like this. 188 Cuchifritos on 188th Street in the Grand Concourse. Old school, New York, Puerto Rican good stuff. Get within 20 feet of this place and prepare to lose your freaking mind.
The cuchifrito itself is basically fried pig. The ears and the tongue chopped up and deep fried.
So off-cut pig parts, deep fried? Well,
deep
what's
fried.
not to like about
Right.
that?
Is that the shank there?
Yeah, the pernil, the shoulder, we're gonna get that in there.
Oh, yeah.
Big piece of chicharron, the skin just chopped up.
So skin,
Fat.
skin and fat.
Yeah. It's almost like a little meat candy bar.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Some morcilla.
Morcilla for sure.
Always morcilla.
And then what else? We need some plátano.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, I miss you.
The Bronx to me became the place where I could really engage my Bacchanalian sensibility. You know,
Right.
you could really just come here, eat, drink, wine, woman, song, and just indulge.
This is pretty much the center of the pork universe as I've ever seen it in New York. I don't know any place porkier than what I'm looking at.
This is exactly the kind of thing I thought we'd lost in New York. That one after the other faded away in the neighborhoods I lived in. And all along, it was there, right underfoot, a gusher of porky goodness.
I mean, there's a great line, which is, they say in France, Switzerland, c'est le Bronx, which is, you know, what do you think, this is the Bronx? And, you know, this idea of if, you know, the music's really loud or someone's making a mess. To me, I take that as a point of pride. To be the Bronx is where the music is loud. The Bronx is where the men are tough, the women are sexy, the food is spicy. If those things weren't true, you wouldn't know what the Bronx was.
So its bad reputation is what protects it.
I think the
some
perception,
extent.
the perception of it being a place where the funk is alive.
An incredible spread.
Yeah, man, this is great. This is one of the places you'll just kind of dream about it. Was I really there? I'm going back. I'm going to go back just to make sure that place was really there.
I can't lay off this pork. It's insane. I'm actually going to get it to go order.
Yo, love for my haters, forgiveness for my enemies, move spectators, I'm the day that they shot Kennedy.
I'm from the Bronx, New York, and I don't beg your pardon. I was 12 or 13 when hip-hop was starting.
Just go and take a minute to listen to what these fools spit. It's pure uncut garbage.
Don't touch my fader, just let me bump, feel my energy up.
No logic. A bunch of false prophets pushing a poisonous product.
I'm not hard to find. I'm right by the zoo, by the gorilla cage. Holla at me, baby. Ooh, ooh. Watch it.
Kidnap souls and minds for ransom, all for the dream of the cream and drop top phantoms with thug anthems written in mansions and fluid. Poorest of minds with inner city crimes and truants. A pledge of allegiance to hood genius means that the dream of Malcolm and King was an inconvenience, a prelude to young black minds.
First to call himself an MC, another pioneer, Melly Mel. In 1982, he and Grandmaster Flash wrote and recorded The Message, an album that was a complete and groundbreaking departure from the kind of lyrics and content up to that point.
Before we started doing hip-hop music, it was no hip-hop music, so we played everything. We played disco, we played reggae, we played rock, we watched Hee Haw. That was like the favorite in our house. That was one of the favorite shows, Hee Haw, you know. And all of those things kind of became the components of what became hip-hop music.
From the pouring rain to the burning sand, here I stand, my weapon is a mic in my hand. And though I strive to be the strongest man alive, y'all sold out quicker than the iPhone 5.
I started out as a break dancer, so I used to break dance. You know, my brother used to, you know, do graffiti. I used to go. So all of those individual elements wasn't really happening anywhere else. So it was just something that could only have went on right in that area in the Bronx.
Yeah, okay, you may be thinking, what about the Sugar Hill Gang? What about them? They were an industry band like the Monkees or the Archies, built to cash in quick on what was seen as a fad. And they did cash in.
Where were you when you suddenly realized, holy shit, there's money in this?
Well, that first record I ever heard was King Tim III. The second, and the most popular record was Rappers Alike. I used to live on the 5th floor walk-up. I walked out, somebody was playing it next door. They was playing on the 4th floor. They was playing on the 3rd floor, 2nd floor, 1st floor. Somebody had a boombox outside playing it. The car that drove by had it on.
Right.
You could hear nothing. It was like a plague. It was like locusts. And that's when I realized, you know, it's something that was beyond what we was doing out in the street. Critically, it's not a great record, but if you play it right now, it's still, you know, it's still a good record.
In this case, at least, history has come around. Today, nobody looks back at the Sugar Hill Gang as having been originals or innovators. People know who did what.
As far as hip-hop now, like as far as the music now, these guys are not trying to tell a story of their time at all. Okay, yeah, they popped a lot of bottles. Oh, yeah, they had sex with a lot of women, and they drove a lot of expensive cars, and nothing else happened. But you would never know that it was a black president. You would never know that it was 2 wars. You would never know those things because it's not reflected in the music. And at some point, somebody was supposed to step up and make those songs. 20 years from now, they'll still be talking about The Message and Planet Rock and all the classic records. You know what I mean? So that's what it is.
Robert Moses has been dead over 30 years now. And people in the Bronx, for the most part, still hate him. In his role as master builder, he rammed the Cross Bronx Expressway and the Parkway system straight through dozens of working-class neighborhoods, seemingly uncaring about the destruction of whole communities. Massive housing projects conceived as utopian solutions to stacking the poor into centralized vertical ghettos were also his bright idea. He did leave some pretty impressive dam works behind, though, like the Triborough Bridge, Flushing Meadows Park, the Verrazzano Bridge. The Bronx happens to be the home of the 2 largest parks in New York City, Pelham Bay and Van Cortlandt. And you see stuff here you probably ain't seeing in Central Park. The Garifuna come from Honduras, Guatemala, and Belize, and they trace their ethnic group back to a single slave ship that crashed off St. Vincent and whose freed Africans then mixed with Carib Indians. Where is home for many of the Garifuna community living in the U.S.? You guessed it, the Bronx.
Living in the Bronx, you're able to kind of travel the world without leaving the borough.
Right.
And, you know, it's like an addiction. When you go to another country and that first day in the market,
Yeah.
and all your dreams and the smell of the diesel, and you're just looking around like, where's that one thing I'm looking for? To be able to do that really in your own backyard is
Cool.
We have a hoodoo too. That's coconut soup with fish. Over here, we had a tapo.
Oh, that looks
Smoked
good.
neck bone with banana, yuca, yautía, malanga, and coconut soup.
Well, that sounds good. Yeah, I'll go for that. Some neck bones and plantains. Yeah, let's do that.
So, let's put some plantain here.
In Garifuna cuisine, mashed plantains come with just about every dish.
Plantains are just part of it. That's part of Hudutu. You would never have this without the plantains.
So it's like fufu.
Yeah,
Same,
absolutely. Same method, same right hand,
same principle.
Same everything.
There's fish and coconut soup.
What kind of fish is this?
Bluefish.
Bluefish. Oh, awesome. I love bluefish.
And some nice smoked neck bones with bananas and yuca.
That's officially awesome already. Ooh, that's tasty. That's really good. An underexploited fish, one of my favorites. So, you know what I've noticed already? The Bronx is big. How ludicrous and shameful is it that I can literally see my house from here and I basically have no idea where I am?
I mean, no fault on your own, but I think that's kind of what keeps the Bronx so amazing is that you have all these in-touch ethnic enclaves.
I didn't know there were Hondurans here, much less 200,000 Garifuna. No clue.
Right.
I've been saying the neck is the next big thing for years now. Still waiting.
People from all over the world reside in the Bronx. As a matter of fact, we have residents from every continent on the face of the earth. And if you count the penguins in the Bronx Zoo, that includes Antarctica.
The wellspring of hip-hop is right around here, a mostly Jamaican community in Bronx River in the South Bronx. Jamaicans began arriving here back in the 50s, and still today, Jamaican food, Jamaican culture, the music is all over. Sundial International Headquarters, makers of traditional tonics and herbal remedies, a Bronx institution since the 70s.
This is one of the ingredients. This is the mahogany bark. This one is used for any type of bodily weaknesses.
Baba Rashan Abdul Hakim, or Pops Baba as he's called, a grassroots bush doctor, healer. He uses recipes passed down from mothers and aunties, blends of roots, spices, herbs, barks, and woods.
If you take the wood root in the morning and the bitters at night, don't care what is wrong with you, you're going to show improvement.
Whatever ails, he's got a cure. Wood root cure for the blood, the body, the nerves. Coromantee, an intestinal cleanser, and traditional African man back. Helps you get your manhood back, among other things.
It was about 1956 when I came to America. So I used to make it in the apartment in Bronx River. And then when I'm boiling roots, the whole project smell of this roots. They used to jive them. Hey, what your father doing in there? What kind of focus in there doing, you know what I mean? And I'd buckle it and go on the corner and I'd sell it in the Bronx. Never leave the Bronx is the best place in America, man. Nowhere like the Bronx.
In the yard out back, some freshly roasted coffee. And this man, a Tyrannosaurus Rex of music, a man who changed the world for generations, Africa Bambaataa. Bambaataa and Pops Baba go back together to the same housing projects.
You know James Brown record, Papa Don't Play No Mess?
Yes.
Well, that's the Big Baba. Brother Rashad, that's right.
He and his associates in the Zulu Nation were absolutely instrumental in shaping what became hip-hop culture. Breakdancing, graffiti, DJing, and rap.
Is the story true that you soak your records in water and you take the label off?
Oh yeah, so either we put tapes on it or we soak the label off. You know, you had spies in each other camps, you know, trying to find out what was that beat Bambaataa playing. So I used to soak it up. I used to put tape to cover the records, and we was digging in the crates hard.
You were unusually voracious in your musical taste. Of all the records in the world, how did you come upon Kraftwerk?
I came about digging in the crate down in the village. I said, this look type of weirdo here. So when I took it home and I heard this sound, I said, whoa. I said, this is some funky, I said, man, this is some futuristic type of funk here, whether they didn't know they was doing some style of funk. And thus came the birth of the electro-funk sound, the Miami bass sound. And since the beginning, we always paid tribute to James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, and George Parliament Funkadelic Clinton for bringing the funk from which the hip-hop came and the reggae, and to, you know, all the pioneers of hip-hop.
Up north a ways in West Jamaica, another working-class community where subway service is pretty limited, and yet people have to get up, go to work, and often make the long hump to another borough. Afterwards, a person could use a drink. And if you're a Jamaican person, you could use the everyday go-to drink of back home. Any time of day or night, Ray and Nephew.
Ray and Nephew is a very strong Jamaican white rum that we use for everything from baby fever to drinks. Here in this bar, you get it with cranberry juice, with milk, or water. What water would be in any other borough is what Ray and Nephew is in the Bronx.
Cheers.
Desus is one half of the brilliant podcast team Desus versus Kid Mero. It's a very fast, free-form riff diatribe on life in the Bronx and what's happening on the news, in hip-hop, or last night.
Growing up in the Bronx, you're isolated from the rest of the city. You know what I'm saying? So the other city had like city bite. The Bronx doesn't get any of that. We're kind of abandoned up here. People get on a boat and go to Staten Island before they ride up to the Bronx.
I gotta reluctantly have to being part of that problem.
Yes. People always say, you know, the Bronx is eventually gonna be gentrified. That's not happening anytime soon. Like, it's not. Like, you know Barry. It's the owner right here. It's the man right here who made today possible. Thank you.
I am happy here, and I will drink more of your Ray and Nephew, regardless of what it might be doing to my brain. But then I will eat.
Is that the, what is this, pork foot?
Pigtail, yeah.
Right?
Awesome. Oh, hell, I love this. Oh, damn, that looks good. People sort of stopped paying attention to the Bronx when it wasn't burning anymore. When Fort Apache was something we didn't have to think about.
Yes. Let's just say that this is the neighborhood where they perfected stop and frisk.
Right. And you remember your first time?
I remember my first time.
How do you feel first time stop and frisk?
I cried. And that summer, 15 times, stopped and frisked. Just thrown up against the gate, fingers through our genitals, as cops looking for guns. But you remember that. You remember your first time. When you lose your stop and frisk virginity. You know, you remember it.
I've never been stopped and frisked.
I wonder why. What is it? Is it because you have a CNN show, or is it just...
I've been arrested.
If you hang around here long enough, I can get you stopped and frisked.
They talk about DIY culture, about do-it-yourself. And you better be able to do it your damn self in the Bronx, because often nobody else is going to do it for you.
When you go in the Bronx, you're basically going back in time. There are certain crimes that will happen here that are not going to happen in Manhattan and Brooklyn. You know?
Okay, it's an obvious question.
Purse snatching.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So there's still crackheads in New York City?
There's still crack. There's literally crackheads in front of that bodega over there, and they are getting their cracks, and they're not bothering anyone.
Man.
And you know the thing is, they are respectable parts of this community. You see them every day. There's literally a crackhead that's been here for 25 years.
That takes some determination now.
Listen. If I could be a crackhead, I would be the best crackhead possible.
I was a crackhead, and
Listen, we've all been there. You know, no judgments.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's up?
All right. Look, I'm thinking curry goat.
Desus' Uncle Vernon used to own this place, but that was 3 owners ago. Now it's Lammy's, and Lammy took over from some people who put too much cinnamon in their curried goat, which, as we all know, is a sin against God. Lammy fixed things. Curried goat and stewed oxtail, with rice and peas, collards, and yes, mac and cheese. I can't resist.
Man, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a lot of good food in the Bronx.
There is. If people would, like, get over their bias and come above 96th Street, they would find out.
I mean, if the Bronx were a neighborhood of Manhattan, sort of shrunk down, you'd have hipsters crawling all over.
Oh my God. If you live in the Bronx, it's not necessarily that you're going to ever leave the Bronx to go to Manhattan, because everything you want, everything you need is in the Bronx. So why would you go past 149th Street? So all that, repping my neighborhood, the ethnic pride and all that stuff, people definitely hold on to that. And that's definitely true of Rylander Avenue, the Italians, the doo-wops, all that stuff. Even this neighborhood was all white until the 50s. It's very recent, the whole immigrant experience.
Who lived here in the 50s?
All white people.
What kind of white people?
White, like we enjoy milk white, like that kind of thing. We're kissing dogs on the mouth. But it's moved forward. Now you have this, and there's definitely this whole, like I'm from 233rd, you're from 225th. Every ethnic group that lives in the Bronx has that, and I think the next group that's gonna take over here is definitely Mexicans. And the thing is, it's an immigrant neighborhood. So it's not a matter of who owns it, it's who owns it at what particular time, and they're next. And I'm looking forward to that, because I enjoy a good quesadilla. So.
Yeah.
But I made the good decision. I came to Lammy's today, so.
Yeah, it was a good move.
Lammy's, let's big up Lammy's.
Big up Lammy's. Lammy's, no, I'm here all the time. I'm always here. I live right there, so I'm always here for the curry goat, for the mac and cheese, Lammy's don't play, man.
The 2s and the 5s here are the greatest trains because they go from Bronx through Manhattan all the way through Brooklyn. So it's the only numbered lines that'll get 3 boroughs, visibility.
The Bronx, still here.
Yeah, it's still here. But like even that, I mean, that brings me back, Tony, that sound.
Do you remember the first time you put spray paint on a wall?
Yeah.
When was that?
Summer of 70.
Back then, seemingly overnight, they were everywhere. Princes of the city. Their pieces stretching across city blocks, whole trains, ever more audacious. Some, like this man, were artists.
In the late 70s, to be on a rooftop like this, with a brew or whatever hanging out, we're waiting for something to come through with a cool letter, like, oh my God, look at that T. And so, kids are screaming like, oh my God, look, oh my God, here it comes, here it comes. And then
there's mine.
There's mine. But what if you thought the train you painted, was on the left side, and then you kind of messed up. And oh no, it's on the right side. And no, you're not screwed. You just wait till this train goes all the way to Brooklyn and comes all the way back.
This was the audience that you had in mind?
Well,
the audience that mattered?
I think all of us spoke to each other back then.
Other artists?
Yeah, it was just a rush of the event, and then the accolades you may or may not receive, certainly not from the public, but from your peers.
Futura 2000. His style and that of a few of his colleagues spread across the globe. I miss those trains. Others, not so much. I get it. It went on and on until there seemed there wasn't an untagged, unmarked, unscrawled upon bit of wall or window in New York. But for a while, it was a golden time.
Well, the whole point of being here
yeah.
was, to me, what the Bronx was about. Not just the music and the scene and coming up here to parties with the likes of Bam and Herc and, everyone of that era. But it's watching trains. It's what we used to call benching.
So you're watching each other's work go by?
Absolutely.
Art lovers.
This was his museum, where he and his fellow artists would meet and exchange ideas and admire each other's work. And it's jarring coming to learn all those years later that it was really all about this, about a few seconds as their pieces rode by to be evaluated by peers. There for a moment, then gone. Like, well, all of their work from that time, long since removed or painted over.
Ultimately, the legacy, here's our legacy. We don't have a movement anymore. The movement has been given to the world. And if you go to trains in Milan and, Paris or wherever, certainly not the Russian system, but, if you go to some of these cities around the world, they're bombed. Their rail systems are destroyed. But today, if I could have a
train running.
That would be
It would be
nice.
epic. And I think any artist, Picasso, any artist from any generation, if that concept was available, like, here's some public art, guys, let it run through our countryside.
Take the 6 train to the end of the line. Then do the same with the number 29 bus. Technically, you'll still be in the Bronx, but it kind of won't feel like it. City Island is a fishing village turned what? A parking lot for pleasure boats and a long-established restaurant row for New Yorkers.
Pick the perfect day to come out here.
Jesus says this place, and Jesus is always right.
How far from your neighborhood? Like car?
By car, maybe 15, 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
It seems like a world away.
Yeah, but it's kooky. I want to buy some nautical bric-a-brac while I'm here. This is New York City?
This is Cape Cod in the Bronx. Many of my childhood memories, like getting all excited to come out, and we get there and they're like, oh, the beach is closed because of medical waste. It's not a day that you go in the water and come out with like a maxi pad stuck to you.
Yes, I've been there. So you were here like when, like yesterday?
I was literally here yesterday.
Wow.
For my sister's graduation, because every time you have an event of note in the Bronx, you have to come celebrate in City Island.
I noticed all the big catering halls.
Yeah. If you get married, you get arraigned. If the baby's not yours, you come here.
Seashore Restaurant, a massive fish factory on the water of a type I'm very familiar with, having started my cooking career in one just like it.
Oh, now see, this, yeah.
I'm also a sentimental fool, and I love this kind of thing. Steamers, a true taste of childhood. Boiled striper and some snow crab and a nice cold beer? Yes. Thank you, Jesus.
It's like a knighting ceremony. Just kind of sit up and you're just like, just take it all in.
Enjoy, guys.
Thank you. You know, I could have done that myself, but to have someone else do
That's
it,
part of it.
It's part of the ambiance. This is the perfect place for a date, but it's the worst food for a date. It's either a huge turn off or a huge turn on. Like, you might give a lady a preview of what they're about to get into.
Right.
You know, a little bib, a little sucking action. Just let them know, you know, in an hour, this could be you.
Wow. I've been missing all my life. This is pretty awesome, man.
Saturday night, City Island, that's where people are going.
The first European settler to come to the Bronx came in 1639. His name was Jonas Bronck, B-R-O-N-C-K. In 1874, all the area west of the Bronx River was annexed to the city. And in 1895, all the areas east of the Bronx River was annexed to the city. Then in 1898, the city decided that the 2 areas previously annexed should also become a borough. But what to call it, since it never had a name before? They looked at the map, and right smack through the middle of the territory ran the Bronx River, so they named it after the river, the borough of the Bronx. And that's why it is called the Bronx, and not just plain Bronx.
If you have a question about the Bronx, chances are Lloyd Ultan has the answer. Born and raised here, he's never really left for over 7 decades. This is a disappearing aspect of New York for sure. The real thing Jewish deli. Liebman's is one of the last. There used to be dozens of places where you could get your brisket, chopped liver, a good pastrami, some pickles, with a black cherry soda or a celery, of course, to drink.
The World Series is going on, Howard Cosell is on the air. Suddenly, you see a tongue of flame licking up into the sky, and he says, "This is the kind of thing that Jimmy Carter saw. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bronx is burning." The old image of the Bronx as middle class, upwardly mobile, healthy area had survived up until 1977. This shattered it.
Right. The Bronx was burning, went the story, and that stuck. Politicians making the South Bronx a poster child for what was hopelessly wrong, would always be wrong, would never, we were told, get any better.
So we now have what you call a slumlord, essentially.
Yes, right.
Who's snapping up large numbers of buildings.
Yeah, first of all, he takes out a huge fire insurance policy. So as he goes to these junkies, and he says, "Listen, you see that empty apartment on the top floor? I'm gonna turn my back. You take all of the lead pipes that are in there, but I have one request, please. Before you leave, turn on the water." And the water comes down, driving everybody else out. They then hire an arsonist and sets fire to the building. They collect all the money and they leave.
I remember it well. I remember those years. Things were bad. Are things borough-wide? Are things getting better?
Is the Bronx better? Absolutely. There is more home ownership in the South Bronx than had ever existed in history. That doesn't mean that we have reached utopia. We have not. How long it will take? I'm a historian. I look in the other direction. I would say my crystal ball is cracked.
I got 4 cheeseburgers for the Bronx.
Is it the best hamburger in the world? Far from it, my friends. Is it even, strictly speaking, a burger? I mean, it's small and square and steamed. It can be, especially when you eat a lot of them, as one tends to, a hate-yourself-in-the-morning experience. But if you grew up with White Castle like I did, and like Handsome Dick Manitoba did, this connects with some deep dinosaur part of the brain, evoking a powerful emotional response.
These are a great cultural part of my childhood. We'd come here 24 hours a day. There were guys on their dates. There was a bunch of punk rock kids. So along with that potpourri of humanity I just described, you had these guys from the mental institution.
That's community for you.
That was the Bronx. That was the Bronx, man. It was great.
Maybe you know Handsome Dick from such pre-punk legendary bands as The Dictators. Dick grew up, where else? The Athens, the cultural geyser, the font of art and music, that is the Bronx. And back in the day, like me, this was his special, warm, and happy place.
I can go by and eat a full 2.5-hour meal, be stuffed, and see someone eating a White Castle. I still want one. You can forget Mickey D's, you can forget Burger King, you forget all those places. If you need a White Castle scratch, none of the cheap places will do. I can't stop eating these.
The Bronx Academy of Letters is something of a cause for me, an institution whose mission I see is absolutely vital if kids, like these kids, from a tough neighborhood, often coming from tough family situations, are going to do the things that they're capable of having the things they want. I believe that there is no way to realize your dreams if you can't articulate them, if you can't, with words, convince others to give you the opportunities, the chances you need to grasp.
So I wanted to talk today. Really, I'm going to tell you in a short period of time everything I know about writing.
Today, I'm dropping by in my role as substitute teacher.
I'm from Manhattan, and I don't know anything about the Bronx. Really, I'm ridiculously, shamefully ignorant. Do you think people know about the Bronx, what it's like to grow up in the Bronx?
Everybody perceives the Bronx as the emergence of hip-hop and all that, the culture. But apart from that, the Bronx is actually lively at all times, at night, in the morning. You hear people screaming from outside your window.
I've grown up with them since I was, pancakes. Yeah, you know, and it just happened that way. So I feel like the sense of community is like the biggest thing.
I've been teaching here for 8 years, and I think that what people forget is a lot of times, we've talked about this in class, they focus on lots of diseases, health issues, lack of education, but I can be out with them just walking to the train to go to a field trip, and they say hi to at least 30 people. They know everyone.
What other Bronx specialties should I be paying attention to?
Well, I don't know, I've always been a fan of McDonald's.
Mm-hmm. That works for you?
Yes.
All right.
That bacon tastes really good.
I like bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich.
Yeah, well, that's a classic. That's a New York classic. The sort of bodega classic. The bacon, egg, and cheese. Love that.
Now you walk outside and they have like the Italian ices.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as like the weather gets nice and you hear coquito, dame, like I think that's the best thing.
So what is it you're eating? What is chopped cheese?
Yeah.
Chopped cheese.
What is chopped cheese? I have to see. Where does this come from, this mutant cheese? This thing, whatever it is, it'll do just fine. As long as you're reading Orwell's essays while you're eating it, kid.
I think it was somebody who just experimented in their house because it's such a simple thing, but it tastes so different than like a cheeseburger, which is what it kind of is actually.
But it's weird, if you go way uptown or like downtown, you say, can I get chopped cheese? And they're like, what? Right. Like, but if you get it here, they're like, all right, come right up.
So this is a regional indigenous specialty.
And it's newer, too,
Right.
right? It hasn't been around that long.
I've been everywhere in the world, and I mean just about everywhere in the world that you can think of. As beautiful as many cities around the world are, it's really in your blood, and particularly if you grew up here. You're living in Paris, you're gonna want a chopped cheese sandwich, and you'll be angry that you can't get one. So there it is. A peek, a narrow slice of an old, deep, and noble subject.
Causing your poor existence, the morph into a vicious, remorseless, lost, relentless, illogical compass.
Sitting right there, relatively unexplored, a cross-section of the tasty, original good stuff.
So gritty, I'm grimy. Got my city behind me.
A petri dish for talent, for culture. The great unknown. Go look.
BX, Armageddon.
I am so confused. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Of all the places, of all the countries, all the years of traveling, it's here, in Iran, that I'm greeted most warmly by total strangers.
Hello.
The other stuff, it's there. The Iran we've read about, heard about, seen in the news. But this I wasn't prepared for.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Merci. So, good to be here finally. It's taken some time. Oh, like a lot of time. Like 40 years I've been trying. Finally.
Tehran, city of nearly 8 million people, capital of Iran.
This neighborhood feels kind of like there are neighborhoods of Rome. This feels a lot like.
After all this time, I finally had my chance to see a country I'd heard so much about.
The weather's nice too. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's nice.
A big blank spot on nearly every traveler's resume.
Merci. Delicious. Thank you.
Once upon a time, there was an ancient kingdom where they found a lot of magical black stuff under the ground. But 2 other kingdoms had the key to the magical black stuff. And when they wouldn't share, the people of the ancient kingdom got mad. They voted, and their leader said the magical black stuff is ours to keep. But the other kingdoms were afraid of losing all of the magical black stuff, so they gave money to some bad men to get rid of the leader. They put back in power another leader, and they gave him money too. To some, he was a good king, but to others, he could be very cruel. After many years, the people of the kingdom got mad, this time even madder. So they scared the king away forever. And then things started to get really messed up.
Okay, that's a simplistic and incomplete way to sum up the last 100-odd years of Iranian history. But the point is, there were a lot of issues and differing agendas leading up to the explosion of rage known as the Iranian hostage crisis. Look, we know what Iran the government does. George W. Bush famously called them part of the axis of evil. Their proxies in Iraq have done American soldiers real harm. There is no doubt of this. But I hope I could be forgiven for finding these undeniable truths hard to reconcile with how we're treated on the streets everywhere we go. So forget about the politics if you can for a moment. How about the food? The food here is amazing. Cello kebab, as close as you get to a national dish, and the king of kebabs. Ground lamb with spices, a good place to start.
So what do you guys do for a living?
I export nuts. I'm a curator of contemporary art.
Which is an exploding scene here.
Iranian country has 3 different cultures: Western culture, Iranian, and Islamic culture. It's really progressive. It has changed a lot during last decades.
Yeah.
So this is the actual menu.
Right.
I would recommend you to try this one, and this one, and this one.
Okay.
Why not?
Cello kebab wouldn't be complete without Persian rice. Fluffy, long-grained, and perfectly seasoned with saffron, the rice in this country is like nothing you've ever had.
So Tony, first you should take the butter and put it on your rice. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Good.
It's very good, yeah.
It was a hopeful time when I arrived in Iran. A window had opened. There had been a slight loosening of restrictions since the election of President Hassan Rouhani. And there was optimism for a deal that could lead to an easing of crippling economic sanctions imposed because of Iran's continued nuclear program. Trade restrictions that have been very, very difficult for everyone. But there's a push happening between opposing factions in the government. On one hand, Iranians are the descendants of ancient Persia, an empire of poetry, flowers, a highly influential culture that goes back thousands of years. But the ruling clerical and military class are at best ambivalent, at worst actively hostile to much of that tradition. Severe religious-based restrictions of speech, dress, behavior were ushered in by the rise of the Ayatollah during the 1979 Islamic Revolution.
یکی میگه دیره یکی دیگه خسته فاصله ها دوره راه همه بسته
So, how does one have fun in Iran these days?
دیگه پوزه مثل رنگین کمون
This is a line that is constantly being tested. Alcohol is, of course, forbidden. You can get away with listening to rock or rap, sort of, sometimes. But you cannot yourself rock or be seen to visibly rock.
یه دوست تازه است زندگیم با روستم خیلی ساز
Not everyone in Iran is delighted with what their country has become since the revolution. But even insinuating discontent can have consequences. Protesters, dissidents, journalists have been simply disappeared into the maw of the national security system.
Military.
What?
It's some military place. Don't shoot, please.
Oh, don't
Check. Let us cross the...
We are in the northernmost spit of land in Tehran. Up here in Darband, the road stops and it gets really steep. Place for Iranians to escape the heat, escape the pollution, and have a kebab and a shisha, and just kind of unwind. As print journalists, our job's difficult, but it's also kind of easy because there's so much to write about. You know, the difficult part is convincing people on the other side of the world that what we're telling you we're seeing in front of our eyes is actually there. When you walk down the street, you see a different side of things. People are proud, the culture is vibrant, people have a lot to say.
Jason Rezaian is the Washington Post correspondent for Iran. Yeganeh, his wife, and a fellow journalist, works for the UAE-based newspaper, The National. Jason is Iranian-American. Yeganeh is a full Iranian citizen. This is their city, Tehran.
The official attitude towards fun in general seems to be ever-shifting. How is fun even a good idea?
A lot of push and pull, a lot of give and take. When I first started coming here, you wouldn't hear pop music in a restaurant or,
It's
or
everywhere
now it's
now.
everywhere.
We have police, they arrest girls or women for having bad hijab or not being covered enough. But it's not that we live with the police in our head, you know?
You know, one of the first things that people will say when you say, well, I'm going to Iran, oh yeah, but don't they make women do this, this, and this, and this? Actually, not so much. Not as much as our friends. Compare and contrast, women aren't allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia.
That's right. Or vote.
Or vote. You can drive, you can vote.
Yeah, of
Can
course.
you own a business?
Of course. My sister is an accountant. She has her own company. Girls are allowed to do almost everything Except we want to go and watch football, which is like
Can't go watch football.
We cannot.
Women's issues are often at the spear point of change or possible change here. On one hand, prevailing conservative attitudes demand certain things. On the other hand, Iranian women are famously assertive, opinionated. It's a striking difference from almost everywhere else in the region.
So why are we so friendly with the Saudis again?
It's a great question. It's a really good question.
I'm happy that you asked that question.
Do you like it? You happy here?
Look, I'm at a point now after 5 years where I miss certain things about home. I miss my buddies. I miss burritos. I miss having certain beverages with my buddies and burritos in certain types of establishments. But I love it. I love it, and I hate it, you know? But it's home. It's become home.
Are you optimistic about the future?
Yeah, especially if this nuclear deal finally happens. Yeah, very much, actually.
Despite the hopeful nature of our conversation, 6 weeks after the filming of this episode, Jason and Yagane were mysteriously arrested and detained by the police. Sadly, in Iran, this sort of thing is not an isolated incident. What is okay to film in Iran and what is not? What's okay for the friendly, to us at least, Ministry of Guidance, might not be okay at all for the Basij, essentially roving young religious militias. Despite all permits and paperwork being in order, we're detained for several hours. This sort of harassment is a daily part of life for Iranians.
Please turn it off right now.
Well, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you. Hello, hi.
Sebastian.
Good to meet you. So, people have been ridiculously nice to us. Aren't you guys supposed to be the axis of evil?
You're absolutely right. We are demonized by the media outside. You show black and white. People are demonstrating and killing and bombing and this and that, and in Syria and this and that. But you never talk about the real people who are actually living peacefully inside the country, you know? Because we eventually, in the future of the world, we and Americans have a very special place in this Middle East. You cannot play a game without considering Iran as a friend.
One of Farouk's many passions is ancient Persia, culinary history in particular, and he's writing a book on the subject.
How do you pronounce the specialty here? Dizi?
What they say is called dizi, which actually is the name of the pot.
That's right. It's like an earthenware.
Earthenware. Yeah.
Right.
This is one of the early dishes of humankind. It goes back to Mesopotamia 6,000 years ago.
Potato, chickpeas, water, lamb, cooked together.
Add a little fat, mash it up with potatoes and chickpeas.
That's good. What do Iranians want to eat today? It's a home cooking culture. I mean,
Yes. We didn't have the culture of eating out. This is a culture of secret foods in the house. Things which are unheard of. It's not in the book.
That's
Secrets.
really
A
interesting.
lot of secrets.
Have you ever tried traditional Iranian food?
It's difficult because everybody says the great food of Iran is cooked in people's homes.
Yes.
This is a land of secret recipes, passed down within families like treasured possessions.
Mr. Tony, please.
Beautiful spread of food.
She's my wife, and I'm a really lucky man. She's very good cooker.
Bejan, like so many other Iranians I've met, has been kind enough to invite me to his home.
This is milk soup. Milk and chicken soup.
It's really good.
My mom said that Iranian people loves guests and they will never get tired if the guest likes their food. This call it fesenjan.
A stew of fried chicken, onion, ground walnuts, pomegranate, and tomato paste.
And there's fruit, there's some kind of fruit.
Yes, there is the dry apricot inside this as well.
Delicious. So good.
Needed around 24 hours time.
These are very sophisticated, very time-consuming dishes to prepare. Always from scratch, and always in excess of what you could possibly need. You tend to kill your guests with kindness around here.
Tila pila. That dish is from the south of Iran.
From the Persian Gulf?
Persian Gulf.
Yes. And this one is from north. We
Halwa.
call it mahiye halwa.
Maybe if I could try some,
This one?
yes, thank you.
Of course. And that one is qeimeh. We made it with beans, meat.
So good. Fantastic food.
Man and wife, both of them working, you know.
So
They-
it's hard to do something like
Yes.
this. That's what I've been waiting. That's the crispy rice at the bottom, right there. The
Yeah.
what's it called? Tarek. Is that?
Tadik.
Tarik.
Exactly.
Oh, lovely. Merci.
My mom and my mother-in-law, they think if they have a guest, they have to at least 2 or 3 kind of foods.
Right.
And if they make just one, they think that it is not very polite for a guest. But nowadays, for example, for my generation, when I have a guest, I will just make one food, one appetizer, and one dessert.
You know why?
And
You know why?
because it's much easier. Yes.
Times have changed. Pre-1979, Tehran was party central. But with Iran's 1979 revolution, 2,500 years of monarchy was over. The supreme leader, Ayatollah Khomeini's word became, more or less, law. Today, hundreds of thousands of Iranians are bused to his enormous shrine from all over the country. A national holiday, Khomeini died on this day in 1989. His funeral attended by over 10 million Iranians.
Down with ignorance! Viva wisdom!
All of Iranians need in American and all of the world for friendship. Thanks.
You don't want to miss the bus.
South of Tehran, the landscape opens up. Nearly 300 miles of Iranian highway stretching to the city of Esfahan. Esfahan is Iran's third largest city. Half the world, as the saying went back when this was the capital of Persia and beyond. The city is renowned for its architecture, the grandest bridges and mosques dating back to the Middle Ages.
USA? From America? Where are you from? From Esfahan? Or from Tehran?
Tehran.
Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yes, hello.
Welcome to Iran.
Thank you.
Welcome to Islam.
Thank you so much. It's very beautiful. I'm guessing from the decor, this is a former wrestler's hangout?
Tucked deep in the labyrinth of Esfahan's bazaar, the smell of something very, very good. This shop has been here doing the same thing for 100 years. And based on the line, it must be doing it right.
I've had biryani in India. I've had it in Uzbekistan. But there's no question who invented biryani.
No. No way.
Biryani. Maybe you know the word, though this doesn't look like any biryani I've ever had. Minced lamb shoulder, onion, turmeric, cinnamon, mint, and of course, saffron, more valuable than gold by weight.
This is delicious.
Really good.
Isfahan today, one of the most visited areas by tourists.
Yeah, everybody, if you come to Iran and you don't visit Isfahan, you are wasting your time.
The Royal Mosque sits astride Imam Square, the second largest square in the world behind Tiananmen in China. At dusk, families come to the square to cool off, picnic, have, yes, it looks like even a little bit of fun. Morning prayer in Esfahan.
میرم تا درگاه خدای مهربون میرم میگم عاشقم خدایا میگن در جان ما این عشق سوزان را رها کن از رنج و غم خدایا
Across town, the Kaju Bridge, where men gather spontaneously to sing.
یه جون دارم دلم میخواد دارم دلی پر آرزو بیا بیا که دل شکسته ام رو دشت غم نشسته ام
یه دل میگه برم
Is this okay? This impromptu giving oneself over to the creative urge to stand and sing out to no one in particular?
طاقت نداره دلم دلم بی تو
Maybe, but not okay, apparently, to film.
We gotta go. Yep, we gotta go.
The road back to Tehran. Along the way, reminders of just how far back this culture goes. The ruins of ancient caravanserais, highway rest stops from when armies, merchants, traders, traveling by camel, by foot, all passed along these same routes. This, right here, a stop on what was once the Silk Road, extending all the way to China. In this part of the world, whatever your background, bread is a vital, essential, fundamental, and deeply respected staple. And mornings at Tehran, countless bakeries like this one turn out as much as they can.
Oh, man. It smells good in here.
We have to stay in line.
No problem.
Standing on line is a daily part of life for many Iranians.
They bake these things on small stones. It gives it that texture.
This is why it's called sangak. Sang means stone, pebble.
In the years since the 1979 revolution, Iranians have weathered wars, food shortages, and crippling trade sanctions that have caused the economy to sputter.
So I'm gonna make you a small table.
All right.
Babak is kind enough to take me for breakfast.
This is called halim.
Awesome. And it's made from bulgur wheat?
Yes. And you know what is inside except wheat? It is meat. It is turkey. This is a mixture of sugar and cinnamon.
Oh, that's good.
You like?
Yeah. And this bread is amazing. So you were how old when the war with Iraq started?
I was exactly 7.
Iraq attacked, and it was a surprise attack.
Iran's 8-year-long war with Saddam Hussein's Iraq is deeply, deeply felt. Hundreds of thousands of Iranians, many of them children, died fighting in that conflict.
Were you afraid?
We were afraid. My brother was in the front for 3 years out of 8. And it was not only my brother, many young people like him. 8 years of war, you know, with a country that is supported by many big powers.
And it is worth mentioning, whatever you think, wherever we are now, that Saddam, supported by the US government and with our full knowledge, used sarin and mustard gas on hundreds of thousands of Iranians. Less known in America, known and felt by everyone in Iran.
And it was a mistake of the United States at that time. They made a bad memory for Iranians.
But it's still, people are indeed really, really nice here. I mean,
because people here don't hate Americans. You helped a coup, and then a revolution, everything, and then we captured your embassy, and okay, it's finished. We didn't kill each other. We didn't have a real fight. So it can be some political misunderstanding, which is resolved, which will be resolved. Maybe, I hope.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
So far, Iran does not look, does not feel the way I'd expected. Neither east nor west, but always somewhere in the middle.
Well, it looks spectacular.
You can't have this in a restaurant. It's time-consuming, it's very expensive, so you have to, Persian cuisine has to be experienced in somebody's home.
Oh, thank you.
So this one here is called bozgorme.
It's slow-cooked lamb in yogurt, is that right?
In yogurt and saffron and egg yolks.
Nazila, prominent art gallery owner, insisted I come over for lunch with her friends and family.
And here we have the sour cherry rice, little meatballs and chicken.
Sour cherries. More than any other nation, I think we love sour.
Yeah.
Rahim, the cook, has been with the family for generations. Rice mixed with yogurt and saffron, baked into a crispy dome. Don't think of rice as a side dish around here. It can be the main event.
Okay, very, very good. You put far more on the table than anyone could conceivably eat. Is that?
Yeah. If you don't like your guest, you don't put anything.
And here we have kufte, which is a large, very big meatball.
Kufte Tabrizi, ground beef, onion, and cooked rice. Walnuts, dried apricots, boiled egg, and barberries.
Anyways, we are a very interesting nation.
Indeed, and very, very confusing.
Extremely confusing,
For me, the contradictions are just enormous.
Iranians, we take you to our house and we take you to our hearts and all of that. And in that way, we are extreme. You know, we are extremists in so many ways.
So good. Okay. You see this tortured relationship between America and Iran for many years. How do you think most Americans will react when they see this?
Start coming.
It is very important for us as Iranians to get through, to make sure that we are seen as humans here, not the so-called enemy or the darkness of Iran. You know, like you go to anybody's house in Iran, and I'm sure they will welcome you.
The excess of evil, we're not the excess of evil. So just normal evil, like everybody else.
10 years ago, Iran was, people, they had hope for future, young people. They wanted to travel, they had a little bit of money, but because of sanction, this sanction really squeezed everybody. 8 years, no foreign investment here, and so it was a very difficult time. I mean, the population is really young, 70% are under 35. And the thing is, they deserve much more than what they have now. They want to have good job, they want to, you know, have families, but it's not possible now for them.
I hope we can have more faith in the ordinary Americans, because every little change in the policy of the Western country, it really, really affects our lives here.
The Malad Tower, Iran's tallest building and a symbol of national pride. It rises 1,000 feet in the air and looks out at all Tehran and beyond. We were out on the observation deck, taking it all in, trying to make some sense of it all. Our time in Iran was coming to an end, and it was impossible to say, was a window opening? Or was it only a moment in time before it shut again? You learn pretty quickly that in Iran, there is plenty of gray area, an undefined territory. Where is the line? It seems to change with barely a moment's notice.
Okay, here it comes.
Now, it's dangerous.
This is the first time that we have experienced such thing.
Stay away from the glass.
Please find this way. Please follow me. This way.
Okay.
Please stop filming.
Last day in Iran. Night falls, and the kids, like kids anywhere, get in their rides and head for somewhere they can hang out.
Amazing
Just
split of
American cars.
American classics here. Where do you get them?
Old people's, yeah.
Old guys, right. And then fix them up?
Yeah.
Mustang?
Camaro, yeah.
Firebird?
Pontiac.
That's a perfect LA car right there. Is this a car club or is this just people just come?
We hang out this way with our friends.
Awesome, all right. Well, I called out for a little delivery.
One last thing everyone's been telling me I have to try. Iranian takeout pizza.
It comes with ketchup.
What do you think about Iranian pizza?
Not bad.
Not bad.
We don't put ketchup on pizza, though.
I love ketchup.
Here. I spent my youth pretty much doing this, hanging in a parking lot. Let's assume the worst. Let's assume that you cannot see any way to reconcile what you think of Iran with your own personal beliefs, that you just generally don't approve.
Yeah.
I think those are exactly the sort of places you should go.
Totally.
See who we're talking about and where we're talking about here. And
I think it's almost un-American not to go to those places, you know?
I don't know that I can put it in any kind of perspective. I feel, deeply conflicted, deeply confusing, exhilarating, heartbreaking, beautiful place.
Yeah, exactly.
American cars are crazy.
American cars are crazy and they're fun.
Yeah.
All I can tell you is the Iran I've seen on TV and read about in the papers, it's a much bigger picture. Let's put it this way. It's complicated.
After 10 weeks, Yagane was finally released. But as I read these lines, Jason remains a prisoner. His future, the reasons for their arrest, are still unknown.
1, 2, 3.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you too.
We'll see.
Thank you too.
felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
I drink up me rum and me tumble down. Me no want no gal come tingle me.
Nearly a year on the road, all those miles, all those airports, infinite variety of awful plumbing. It was time for something low impact. So off to Jamaica.
Iron barra, me no want no gal come tingle me.
This is the first time I've ever driven a car on a wrong side of the road. I mean, knowingly. How hard could it be? Oh, I get the pass on the right, too. Woo-hoo-hoo. Thankfully, we have a roll bar.
But this time, a different angle. You probably know of Jamaica as a vacation paradise. But it's worth mentioning this is a divided country and has been in one form or another since the days of slavery. There's a small minority who control most everything, and then there's the poorer, generally darker-skinned majority, less connected, left out. Jamaican cuisine, a lot of it, still reflects this conflicted history. Breadfruit, saltfish, this was slave food, cheap, long-lasting, filling, introduced basically as feed.
Iron bar, and me no want no gal come a finger it.
Day one, first order of business, get my, some jerk chicken. Can you blame me? No, I think not. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I know this routine. Believe me. It's brown, it's murky, and it burns, Mommy. It burns.
And there are still, all these years later, 2 Jamaicas. There's the Jamaica that most Jamaicans live in, cook in, struggle to survive in. The real Jamaica. Then there's the Jamaica which you're probably more familiar with. But tourists have been coming to Jamaica for a long time, when this part of the island, particularly Port Antonio, threatened to become an international jet-set destination. Local legend has it that Errol Flynn was shipwrecked here on his yacht in 1947 and promptly fell in love with the place. Before Flynn, it had been an empire of bananas, a huge industry that later became United Fruit. Bananas went out, tourists came in. The banana business eventually went elsewhere, and when tourism shifted to the other side of the island with the construction of an airport at Montego Bay, well, that was pretty much it. The northeast coast was largely forgotten. It has the feel, still, of a forgotten paradise. There are those who believe that the area can come back, that it must come back, that the future is in hotels and resorts and restaurants for wealthy visitors, as it once was. Take this place, for instance. The Trident Hotel. Expensive, luxurious. Best of all, I'm the only guest. Oh, did I mention it comes with a castle? What kind of person would own a building like that? Who? Why? Then this man arrived and kind of answered that question. All of this belongs to Michael Lee Chin, local boy turned billionaire, one of the richest men in the world, and my host. He's invited me for dinner.
That's some rum before we do some crabbing, yeah?
Right, yeah, that sounds like a plan.
But first, we need crabs for that dinner, I'm told. Caught in the traditional style. A drink is in order.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Respect. Crabbing.
Crabbing.
Respect.
A lot of crab holes.
This time of year, Port Antonio is literally crawling with crabs, I'm told. It'll be really easy. Just scoop up the little bastards and then it's back to the pool.
You haven't seen it, right?
Yeah, I'm looking. I'll lunge at him.
It's hot. I think it's that rum, you know.
It's really thick in the bush, you know?
It's sweltering, freaking hot, and dark.
You find something?
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
But it doesn't seem to bother the hotel chefs who willingly risk dismemberment for the sake of procuring a tasty dinner.
We want him alive. We have questions to ask him. Where are your friends?
Yeah.
You know?
One crab down, 49 left to go.
With the help of Tony, we're gonna get some more tonight, so.
I'm frankly anxious to get this over with, so when the opportunity arises to stick my paw down into a hole where there's probably a pissed off crab looking to clamp down on my pinky with his pincers, I could care less.
Nothing.
No, nobody home.
Oh, Hans. Ah, damn it. I think I stepped in the antness.
Are those fire ants? Wonderful. Please attack my nutsack. Anything to get this over with quicker.
Ah, he's running. Hey, man.
Okay, I don't want to kill the little guy.
That's it right there. Right and left, right and left. Whoa.
Yeah.
Expert.
Nice one.
Next.
What seems like several sweltering hours later, it's mission accomplished, and it's back to home base and time to get ready for dinner at the castle, followed by a party, I'm told.
Do you recognize these, Tony?
I put this guy in a bag tonight.
I'm joined by billionaire Michael, his partner John Baker, music producer and hotelier, John's wife Nordia, Errol Flynn's grandson Luke Flynn, and his wife Sky.
You grew up in this
Yes.
in this area. What was Port Antonio like in the 50s?
Port Antonio was, it was vibrant, banana, lots of wealthy tourists. So Port Antonio was a happening place.
You're a man with a diverse financial interests. Banks, communications. As a veteran of 30 years in the hospitality business, why? Why would you do such a hard and probably unprofitable thing? I mean, usually unprofitable.
You're being very kind.
It's a really business, generally speaking.
Well, I thought you're smart, I thought you're brilliant, but your behavior shows that you're dumb.
No, I know the answer. Are you a romantic?
Great things will happen when you romanticize, you dream, you aspire, you see a vision, and you set out to achieve that vision. Trident is here to catalyze people to come to Port Antonio and discover
wow, wow, and wow again.
Where does it cross over? Where all of the things you love about this area, where all of the villas are spanking new, and people are building 400-room hotels, is there a threshold where things start to not be the things that you loved about the place in the first place, and how do you guard against that?
You know, Tony, Portland is a long way from getting there. It has not progressed out of the 50s.
It's had very little tourism in recent years.
Why isn't there lots of... Everybody loves reggae. Everybody loves Bob Marley. Everybody loves spicy, delicious Jamaican food. What's the problem?
Because you don't get off a plane and go 100 yards to an all-inclusive. There's no real lift here. You have to get here.
It's that simple?
It's as simple as a lift, and it's as simple as we're shrouded by the Blue Mountains, and it's an effort to get here. So it filters out certain forms of travelers. So we have to make it a little bit easier to get people.
You get beat out by a lot of lame islands, let's face it.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. And even in Jamaica, lamer areas. For me, I say if someone says, oh, I've been to Jamaica and they haven't been to Port Antonio, I'm like, well, really, you didn't get a real feeling of Jamaica.
You can't go many places in the world and find natural beauty. People who are genuinely warm, where there's a strong culture of food, strong culture in terms of music, and at the same time, be able to be a part of a community, and you can be a visitor without being a part of the tourist industry.
Hello. During World War II, British naval intelligence officer Ian Fleming came to Jamaica on a secret mission to investigate possible U-boat activity. Like the legendary character he would later create, he was a spy. The mission came to nothing, but Fleming fell immediately in love with the island and vowed to return, which he did, buying this place, Goldeneye. At the time considered very Spartan, a cottage, a single room really, a few smaller rooms in the back, but an incredible view. He spent much of the rest of his life here writing a book each year at this desk. You know those books. Today, Fleming's cottage has been enlarged and made more luxurious as a hotel, but the original house still stands, along with some improvements. Grotto, eh? What did every young American boy want? Every red-blooded American male born in 1956. I can tell you, they wanted a grotto. It sounded pretty good to me at 12. As I got older, I started to think about these things, like exactly who was in that grotto before me becomes more of a concern as you grow up. It's like, did Ron Jeremy just leave the grotto? Am I the first one in the grotto? Has someone changed the water in the grotto? These were concerns later in life, but this was it. I wanted a grotto. I still kind of do. Thank you so much. This is totally better than the Playboy Mansion. You know that the Playboy Mansion totally smells like old man ear stink.
The current owner of GoldenEye is another unusual man, Chris Blackwell, legendary music producer turned hotelier. Over the years, Blackwell has expanded the property into a resort, its gates reaching right up to the fishing beach at neighboring Orcabessa. Blackwell has big plans for the area. The next day, I leave GoldenEye's luxurious embrace, headed into town for something, well, I just had to have. A long-time favorite.
What do we have here? Oh, oxtail.
Yeah, man, curry goat.
Oh, sweet.
I don't care whether it's the Bronx or Kingston or wherever I can get it. Oxtail, curried goat, callaloo, and of course, rice and pigeon peas. Got to have that.
Man, I love the food in this country.
Man, it's the best.
It's such a mix.
Asian,
African. A lot of people totally miss out. I mean, curry goat. That's
yeah, man. It's
that
Asian
comes
stuff.
from the East Indies, what they used to call.
That's true.
Chef Chris's cook shop has become something of a local institution, a thriving business in a town that's seen better days.
How long have you been open here?
I've been opening this little shop for 13 years.
13 years?
Yeah, man.
The town changed in that time or stayed the same?
Well, right now, you know, our economy is not doing so good right now, so.
Why not? It's one of the most beautiful areas in the world.
Yeah, for real. We have a beautiful waterfront.
Beautiful weather.
Yeah, beautiful ladies.
Fantastic food.
Yeah, what more could I ask for?
What do you think went wrong? I mean, why would people stop coming?
I guess the guys in the top seat messed it up, so they're trying to correct it now, you know?
It's expanding fast.
Yeah, it is.
The town.
It
They're
is.
going to be building all the way.
Yeah, all the way down there.
All the way around.
Yeah, so.
So that's thousands of tourists.
Yeah, thousands
right?
of
Probably.
tourists. To be honest, I'm waiting for that moment. I don't want to think. We really need that, you know, because this town was dying fast and real fast. So Chris Blackwell came back and now he's booming the town. So it's a good step in the right direction.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. See, now I'm happy. That is just beautiful. Nice place to grow up?
It is.
What's it like being a kid?
My childhood days, I used to spend it at the beach.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Who gets to do that?
Well, I guess only me and my friends.
But I mean, do you ever take it for granted? Like, do you ever get?
Yeah, we do.
We do.
We do. See, the thing about it, when we really need it, that's the time we can't have it, you know? Because a lot of our waterfronts have been gone, you know? We have very little right now. You know, it's okay. We have James Bond Beach like 10 minutes walk from here also, so at least we're one of the luckier ones.
It's inevitable, of course, that next door to GoldenEye, there would be a James Bond beach.
All of the Bond movies were conceptualized and written here.
When Blackwell heard I wanted to visit the local fishermen, he hooked me up with his good friend Carl to accompany me. I'm here to hit Dr. Ho's, a local rum bar where one can indulge in a typical hard-working fisherman's breakfast. Rum.
So we drinking rum here? We drinking beer? We drinking rum and beer?
Hold on now. It's hardcore.
But you're recommending just like some beer and some rum together?
No, the steel bottom now.
Steel bottom.
All right. Steel bottom now, right? We're going to do 1 part of rum.
Yep.
Right, and 4 parts of beer. No water, no ice. Try that. It's a steel bottom, meaning it's non.
It's good.
Yeah.
It'll work.
And you could take it to your dimension.
So who fishes here? You fish?
Yeah.
What are you fishing for?
Hold on, let me get. It's multiple fishing.
Right.
Which will be your snapper, your parrot, your grunt.
Exactly. Right. So is business better these days or worse these days?
Okay.
Worse. Right.
So overfishing is a problem.
Oracabessa is a fishing village, for now at least. All throughout the Caribbean, fish stocks are in decline, and making a living from the sea is getting harder and harder.
So right here, it's actually become a fishing sanctuary. We're trying to now revive the fish stock around the island.
So if this becomes a protected sanctuary, what are you going to do for a living?
Yeah, so they have to go further out to sea for deep sea fishing.
That means more gas?
More gas, more economic condition, less fish. So it's a strain, right?
Is there a future for the traditional fishing industry in Jamaica, or do you think, like every place else in the Caribbean, is it going to end up an entirely tourist economy?
It's going to belong to the tourists.
This
place here, because I can tell you something. I live just up the road, lovely spot, which is on the coast, just like Chris Blackwell, and they're going to tell me that I cannot fish in there.
But what is happening now?
Here's what I'm kind of getting at. Rich people want to live what they see as a simple life. In their minds, they want to live the life of a Jamaican fisherman. So they want to live the life of somebody who doesn't have a lot of money. But the people who actually do that now are giving up their living and essentially entering the tourist sector. There's a certain amount of weird irony at work here. Who gets to live in paradise?
Nobody. Because guess what?
You got a point. And I'd like to clear up the point what you have, right? There's a lot of things going on here, right? I read a piece of paper a couple months ago that's going on down here, right? The native here don't have no beach in a few months' time.
This architect's model sits in one of GoldenEye's offices, showing what Oracabessa's coastline will look like if all goes according to plan.
They're gonna have an ID to come inside here.
We don't care about truth, man. We kill people for truth, man.
I'm telling the truth.
I'm no expert on local politics, but whatever is going on here has clearly stirred up some strong emotions.
See the street here? That street is school kids. I have to go to school. They also want to own that. Yeah, man, that's true. That's true. Wait a minute. I'm talking.
Hold on.
Wait a minute, Chris.
Yo, just stop talk.
Hold on.
Mr. Stop bomb buckler talk, my brethren. Mr. Stop talk, my brethren. I don't want to hear no more of that. Just cool, man. Just stop talk. Stop talk.
We gotta talk real.
Oi, big man, stop talk. Why? Come here.
Come on, interview.
Yeah. No, go back.
Don't do that.
No, go sit down. No. To all the program work, you see me? We just kick back and cool. See me?
Sit down.
We can't expose yourself. See me?
Ease yourself.
Which is better? To be your own man, uphold family tradition in a dangerous, ever-shrinking, ever more difficult business, trying to catch fish in the sea, or carry a golf bag for a wealthy tourist? I couldn't tell you. I was in the service industry cooking people's food for most of my working life, so it's not like I have anything against it, but I don't know.
It's a joyous day. Let us find the spirit in man and travel to the unknown. You think because we are here in the present that it had just started? This is coming way out of the unknown, out of the nothingness. And we are going to go on into the information highway, into the celestial. We are what it called astral travelers. So we travel from dimension to dimension. If one man die, all man dead. And if one man live, all man live.
Last year I know, man.
Tolerance. One dog, one fowl, one cow, one puss, one moon, one sun. It has to be multi-purpose in order to sustain energy and life. Say a black, blue, green, pink, yellow, river, sea, mountain, bird, dog, puss, man. Everything is from the non-such. Everything is related. The car, the money, everything is connected to the universe. So if we as a human person does not realize how vulnerable we are within the changes of time, and the earth will not disappear, my brethren. It's I and I.
Who gets to live in paradise? It's Jamaica. Let's accept as a basic premise that this is about as close to paradise as it gets, right? This place I'm staying was built by a guy who lived here 2 months out of the year. That place down there, probably the same, 2 months a year. Sad to say, I think it's unlikely that 50 years from now, anyone but the extraordinarily fortunate, the extraordinarily connected, and the extraordinarily rich will be able to even look at a vista like this. That is my personal theory. Look, here I am, fully aware of the irony of this situation. It's like the whole preservation thing. Who preserve for who? Save the reef for who? Save the beach for whom? Not you, probably. Later that evening, Blackwell invited me to his private bar, just down the cliff from Fleming's old villa. There are very few pieces of land anywhere on Earth like this, especially with this kind of legendary status.
Legendary status, yes. It's Fleming, was really Bond's birthplace.
Chris Blackwell is the founder of Island Records. He's credited with discovering Bob Marley and spreading the gospel of reggae into the mainstream all across the world.
To the extent that one person can sort of be responsible for the soundtrack of your life, you are responsible for much of the soundtrack of my life. You signed Roxy Music and Brian Eno both, yes?
Yes.
Did you have any idea, signing Bob Marley, the extent to which his image alone would blow up to you know, Che Guevara level?
But Bob somehow managed to touch people in every corner of the world, in different cultures, different societies. No, I never could have imagined. I don't think anybody could have imagined. It's so unbelievable.
Having sold Island Records for a sum rumored to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars, Blackwell spends his time, well, doing whatever he wants.
You have a number of hotel properties, rum business. What's the master plan? Or are you just having fun?
Well, always is to have fun. That's part of the master plan. You only live around here one time, so I'm very excited about here, what I'm doing here. I'm trying to break a little resort town. And it's something that filters into the town, filters into the parish, filters into the country. You know.
Lately, the project at hand is the Oracabessa Fish Sanctuary, set up to protect the local fish habitat and breeding grounds. A noble cause, but one that has put Blackwell squarely at odds with some of his neighbors.
It seems to me that most people who come to Jamaica pretty much stay within the compound, you know, sandals or whatever, and don't really get out there much.
It's a business model, and that business model works well for people. The market that I'm going for are the ones on the high level, in terms of a high cost level.
Is it an inevitability that basically all of the Caribbean, that it's essentially going to end up as a service economy?
Yes, I think I think mainly so. And then it's based on tourism. It's based on people visiting.
It's a tough balance. The engine that's going to preserve or save is often dependent on who's coming to look and what they're willing to pay to come and look. Can there be a balance, do you think? I mean, can a place this beautiful be unspoiled forever?
I think there could be a couple hundred places like this in Jamaica. As long as there are people who can go and spend some money in communities, go to a little restaurant, go to a little bar, go to, shop. That's essential for Jamaica to really thrive.
If life were a Bond film, who would you be in a Bond film?
Well, there's only one hero in a Bond film. That's
Oh, you'd be the hero?
I'd have to figure that out, yes.
I don't know whether I'd be the villain. I'd be like number 17.
He has an unhappy end.
Yes.
And his end is
frequently.
quite short, yeah.
What we're all looking for, isn't it? The perfect beach. Remote, uncluttered by douchery, cold local beer. The perfect end to a long and, well, bumpy road. Winifred's Beach is that beach. Mostly locals, a few clued-in visitors, white sand, clear, warm water. And of course, local food.
This is ackee, Jamaica favorite dish. Typically Jamaica, we use it as a breakfast.
Cynthia and Dennis run this place and come highly recommended. I'm told this is the spot for the classic, gotta have it or you ain't really been to Jamaica, ackee and saltfish. Salt cod, rehydrated and cooked with ackee, a local fruit that happens to be toxic if you don't handle it right.
Now they say best ackee and saltfish
In Jamaica.
anywhere.
And yeah, also some banana.
Delicious.
That is delicious.
Yeah.
Cynthia's friends Joy and Marjorie also have little restaurants or food stalls on the beach, and they tell me that here too it's in danger of redevelopment, that all this might disappear into the ever-churning wheel of, well,
Winifred Beach is a public beach. It has been one of the best beaches in Jamaica. The beach was left to give the poor people of Jamaica.
So the government takes it over supposedly to make it a public space, but they want to sell it to a hotel group?
Yeah, they want to make like a resort.
There are a lot of islands in the Caribbean where you're not allowed to own a beach, meaning all beaches are public. Even if it's a really exclusive hotel, at least theoretically, anybody can go.
Right.
Here it's different. Here, if you can buy a house and the beach, you can. If you're a hotel, you can make it a private beach, meaning they don't let the locals on or vendors or anything. They can keep people out.
Right.
So how many public access beaches are there in this area? Just one.
This one.
And that's it.
No more. No more beach. We have other beaches around, you know. We have like Blue Lagoon, which is a private beach. Dragon Bay, private. And the Sansan is private. So this is the only public one, you know?
Yeah, what happens if, I mean, that would be sort of ridiculous if Jamaicans can't go to the beach in Jamaica.
Exactly.
there are two sides to every story, of course, and the government, for its part, claims locals will still have access to their beach.
We don't trust them, so we do not believe what they said.
They want to get us off, and like 6, 7 years, they don't do anything on it and close it off.
Right. what kind of monstrous human being or organization would displace
Yes.
the people from their own beach?
From our freedom. If they take this away from us, we would like we are in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when the time is hot, we wouldn't have nowhere to come and swim.
So we the people, we are in court with the government because we do not want them to take away the one and only beach that we have in Jamaica, Portland.
What do you think your chances are? You think your chances are good?
Yes.
You're gonna win?
Yes. I've been fighting over 7 years.
Trust in the Lord.
7 years.
7 years. And I said I'm gonna fight until I reach the top. If when I reach the top and I lose, I feel much better. But I'm not giving up.
Let's face it, there are only so many beaches in this world. Even fewer unspoiled beaches, and even fewer beaches like this.
I mean, that's one of the things that's nice about this area is it's not a big resort area like some of the other parts. And the food is amazing.
Right. Yeah, we do cook nice food.
You can't get this at the hotel.
They get it, but not like this.
Not so fresh.
Really, really, really tasty. I'm gonna have to come back here like tomorrow.
Whenever people come here and they have problem, they go to the sea and they look over there in the ocean, and when they're finished, they never have a problem again. It's go right in the water and down. This is our medicine here. And I hope that the world can see what is going on at Winifred Beach, and that they can come out and enjoy the beauty of the beach, the nature of the beach, the people, and the love of the beach.
Next day, and I know where I'm going.
Run a mongoose, mongoose your name gone abroad.
Because you never know. Because it may not be here that much longer. Not like this, anyway.
Your name.
Sun, sand, rum, and ting. And some more food.
Put it in him left foot pocket, run a mongoose.
Oh, yeah. Hi. Wow, what a spread. I'm not going hungry today. Beautiful. Thank you. I'm so excited. That is actually quite delicious. You're not missing out on starches. I mean, you get yam, plantain, breadfruit, rice, peas, corn, carrots, dumpling, festival.
Like the man said, eat dessert first. Life is uncertain.
That's good. I knew I was coming back here. I knew it was a smart move to come back here. These ladies can cook.
Point being, the way the world turns, the inevitable grind of history seems to indicate that places like this and people like this get plowed under, pushed aside, paved over. Who owns paradise after all? Who in the end gets to own paradise, use paradise, or even visit it? That's a question that's probably worth paying attention to before there's none left at all.
How do you do this and be a good person? I don't think you can. Like, if you wanted to do this regularly for the rest of your life, I would like to spend 3 months out of the year in a hammock looking out at the Caribbean in a secluded beach like this. You'd have to do bad things to do this, right? James Bond doesn't get this. James Bond's a hustler. He gets this for a couple of days before he moves on to the next location. The guy who lives here is the Bond villain, not James Bond. Ian Fleming was much closer to like Blofeld or Hugo Drax. You know, those guys had lots of leisure time, sitting around in hammocks figuring out how to take over the world. A lot of downtime in world domination. Bond was a working class. That's what I've been missing. All right, go wide. Summon the robot piranhas. Where's my cocktail?